You're tuned into the Edible Activist Podcast. I am your host and favorite go-to edible activist, Melissa L. Jones. On this show, we serve up empowering narratives and fresh perspectives straight from the voices of emerging Black people and people of color in agriculture and business. And in these candid conversations, we might sprinkle in a few choice words. They're the ones stewarding the land, healing communities, and championing food justice and economic empowerment across the country. Their contributions and stories sprouted from the earth truly embody the spirit of activism in their own unique, edible ways. So let's dig in and get started. Peace and welcome to the Edible Activist Podcast. I am your host and favorite edible activist, Melissa L. Jones. I am super excited to have a phenomenal guest. She hasn't been here not once, but twice. Now, actually, this will be the third time being on the show. Miss Dominique Charles, certainly not a stranger at all. She is a New Orleans native and a district resident. She is the creator and founder of Plots and Pans, which is going to, run it back and give you a little intel about Plots and Pans, just a bit, just a taste. But on the last two episodes, we dived into her discovery of her love for gardening, which actually happened in 2013 when she was gifted a gardening set by a friend, and now Viola, look where she is now. We also learned about her agrarian life from childhood, including driving tractors and observing her grandparents grow food. And then again, up to speed where she is with Plots and Pans and doing amazing gardening work that looks so fun, but also whipping it up in the kitchen. She's going to tell us about a recipe that she actually just worked on. And so I'm just super excited to have Dominique back. The last time she was here, it was back in August. Now we are in the month of April, which is a big gap. So definitely want Dominique to drop some tips on what y'all should be doing to cultivate the garden, your dream garden, okay? So Dominique, welcome.
Hi, this is my first time in studio,
Yes.
We did the original COVID.
You were a COVID interview.
I sure was. So the first time we did it, we didn't even see each other.
We didn't.
And then the second time we were on like a Zoom kind of situation. So this time it's really cool. I get the cool pictures like everybody else with the studio lights, the on sign, on. So yes, I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you. Can I share a funny?
Oh, please do.
Funny. Okay, so when you were on my show the first time, which was the COVID interview, you thought it was going to be video.
Child, and with beat to the gods.
Dominique had that face beat, okay? And it was beautiful, by the way. I said, oh no, this is just an audio, but I appreciate the preparation, okay?
I was ready.
And she sent me photos of her face, and I felt so bad, but I was like, she looks so good.
Listen, I'm a Girl Scout. Be prepared, okay? I was ready.
You were so ready.
But I'm still ready today. I gave you cuteness.
But I also just appreciate you because that was your first time being on the show, and I had been in the studio a lot, but you were still committed to talking with me and sharing your story.
Absolutely.
So, thank you.
Yay.
I'm so excited in person.
Wait, I have a funny, though, about how we met.
Yes. Share.
So Farmer Maisha, had this shirt on. I saw her at this event in Silver Spring, and it said Edible Activist. And I was like, where'd you get that shirt? I have to have that. And she's like, Melissa, you don't know Melissa? Like, how are you a garden girl and you don't know Melissa? And I was like, oh, I'm so embarrassed, but I'ma know Melissa. So she was like, well, she had this campaign and it was over. And I'm like, okay. So I sent Melissa a DM, and I was like, hey, girl, I want a shirt. Can I buy one from you? I did not know Melissa from Adam, okay? And so I was really just, waging like, Lord, let me make sure my little $20, $25 is safe. So she said she was gonna send the shirt, and she got it. So I got my shirt, and I would wear my little shirt. And then I went to another event. It was at DPR.
Yes.
And I was like, "Wait, are you Melissa?" And you were like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm Dominique. I bought this shirt from you." But it was the first time meeting, so I trusted the internets to make sure Melissa was legit. She is legit. She is the queen bee of the Garden Girls. Okay.
I thank you because you always lift that story up. It was the shirt.
It was the shirt. I was like, "This is dope. I need it. Give it to me."
And you got it.
Yes.
And we got new ones coming.
Whoop, whoop. The new ones are fire. When you had the little prototype on, I was like, "Let me get that out you." Okay. So
I got you.
I can't wait.
You.
I cannot wait.
You know I got you. Dominique, this is your season, man. Like we're in April.
Wait a minute. You mean literally or figuratively? Because
both.
I'm claiming it in both.
Child. Both. Let's claim it.
I'm claiming it. I am claiming it.
But I know those hands are literally in the dirt, dirty. You in the garden, you in the kitchen, you plotting and you plotting and planning.
Plotting and panning. Yeah. Well, so the funny thing is the name Plots and Pans came from, I was trying to figure out what to name the business because my friend my girlfriend who built me the garden, her thing was seedlings and sprouts. And I was like, that's so cute and catchy. I need something. And I had this little notebook from Target. You know, I'm a Target dollar section queen. We've already talked about my love of Target. Did. So I'm in Target and I have this notebook that says plotting and planning. And I'm writing in the notebook, jotting down all these titles and like just randomly closed it. And I was like, that's it. Instead of plotting and planning, I am plotting and panning because your girl can cook. I could probably cook better than I can garden, but don't tell nobody, y'all. Don't tell nobody.
Don't get us started.
Don't get me. I'm ready. But no, seriously. So that's where it came from, was from the gardening came as a result of my love of food and cooking food. And I just kind of got really good at gardening as well. But yeah, you
already had it in you, kind of.
I did.
You know, driving the tractors or maybe not driving them, but you was in them.
No. So I learned
driving.
I learned how to drive on a tractor.
That's right.
I did not. I learned how to drive on a tractor before I learned how to drive in a car. I probably could still drive a tractor. Listen, I could probably still drive a tractor better than I can drive a car.
Considering that you live in the district where crazy drivers.
Listen, I wouldn't let me borrow your car. Okay.
Well, how often do you just go reflect back and just have a deep appreciation for how you came up and having that experience?
All the time. My sister and I, we laugh about, her children and how they are growing up so different from us. And so we just talk about the little things that we grew up in and just things that are funny, but in the moment you be angry about I'm so mad. Gab took my rock. That's my rock. And fighting over rocks and remember being little and granted, they already had electric ice cream makers, but everybody taking turns turning the ice cream maker. And just those stories of being little and having grandparents who just love you so much and were so close. And not that my dad's parents didn't love us. What's wrong?
No. I said I know.
Oh, yeah. But my dad's parents were in the islands, so we didn't have that close relationship where my mom's parents were an hour and a half away. So, I mean, we just had such a great childhood, and we laugh about it all the time, about the things that we grew up with, the things we grew up doing. Everybody, so many people, I don't want to say everybody, have that memory of shelling peas with your grandmother.
Right.
But that's such a thing. So I think about it often, and I'm truly, truly blessed to have the grandparents I had. And man, they were the best. My little brother wanted a horse, and then there was a horse. What? It was Jetter. And why was the horse's name Jetter? We don't know. But it was Jetter. That's the horse's name. But little things like that. So I am so full and so I just have wonderful childhood memories. Honestly. Now there's the ones that aren't so great either.
Yeah.
But I have wonderful, wonderful childhood memories of growing up on the farm. Mm-hmm.
I didn't grow up on a farm.
Not growing up on a farm.
Yeah.
Let me take that back, because somebody's going to fact check and be like, girl, you went to Ursuline. You lived in New Orleans proper. spending time with my grandparents on their farm.
Right?
Okay.
But I mean, I had an amazing childhood too. I mean, my sister and I played outside until them lights came on, right? You knew when to go in. We literally climbed trees. We ran
didn't
through
do
the
all that.
woods. That's what we did. We had honeysuckles and blackberries that grew, and we grew up in an apartment building that was right outside the apartment building, was like picking those things. I mean, we were dirty when we got back in.
Girl, smelling like
Dirty.
outside.
Outside.
Now listen, we were. I was not climbing trees. I was always a little on the plus
You didn't
size
have,
as
you
a
ain't had
youth.
to sap. You ain't
Listen,
had to sap underneath your fingernails.
I need you to understand that she was a little heavier, and so there was no tree climbing. Okay. Now you
it,
talking about
Dominique.
helping my mama bake and licking the thing, the little cake mixer.
That's
yes.
where you get the panning from. The
Hello-
pots and the
oh,
pans.
girl, Gwen can cook. Ooh. Now, when I talk about my mama took home back by the reins, and somebody's like, "Can your mama sew?" And I was like, "I think she can sew, but really, my grandmother could sew."
Okay.
But my mom. Like, my mom can cook. My mom can bake. The funny thing about my mama is post-Katrina, when they moved into my grandparents had 2 homes, one on the farm and one in Baton Rouge. So my parents moved into my grandparents' home in Baton Rouge after Katrina. This woman bought a KitchenAid mixer as like an essential item. Ma, that's not essential.
Of course she did. She's a baker.
That's not essential, but that's how she moves. So my mom
Right.
can cook, my mom can bake, my mom can iron like nobody's business.
She got the crease. She can do the creases.
What?
And it's like
There's a Gwen.
that's a different era.
There's a Gwen fold. If you fold the towels outside of the Gwen fold, the towels will be unfolded and handed back to you. And listen, my favorite thing that she can do that I absolutely cannot do is pack. She can pack a bag.
I can pack.
I cannot.
You can't.
I mean, I can pack to get by, but listen, Gwen could pack. When I would be like, when we were beefing, but I needed to like still want to extend, like, how do you include your mom? I'd be like, Ma, can you pack my bag for me, please? She's like, and like, what pack, like, girl, Gwen could pack. Like, hands down. But like, she can just do all those things. So she's very much
Got that touch.
She does. She has that touch. But we go back and forth and cook. Like, there was a minute where we were competing over macaroni, who can make the best roast. Like, what? Who does that? I make better macaroni. But
So when can we visit and have a New Orleans, Baton Rouge, wherever they
I'm
at
from New Orleans.
experience?
My mama is from Greensburg and Baton Rouge, so we're gonna clear that up.
Okay.
But
Whoop, whoop.
you know what? I keep saying I want to have everybody over, and I think that I've been in this space of like I want to get my house perfect.
Yeah.
But my house is not gonna be perfect, and y'all just need to come through. We need to set a date. I think I'm gonna do it before I leave here today. We're gonna set a date when everybody comes over, and I'm more than happy to cook for y'all. Yeah, we're gonna get it in.
I'm ready.
Yay!
I'm ready. Yes.
We need Falani to make that sorrel though. Oh my God.
Oh my! I know really great people. Y'all
You
are
do.
great.
Well, I think it's so funny because I think you are just such a great person. And I'm very blessed to have met you and like just to be in your orbit. I think you constantly bring us all together and introduce us to other women who are just awesome. Like we were just talking about how me and Jaren cut up all the time. Like I knew Jaren from social, but I didn't know her.
Right.
But listen, me and Jaren, like, we the ones you do not want in the corner together, okay?
Speaking of corner, they sat in so I had a live podcast event last month, and there was a VIP section over where I'm looking at the couch right
VIP
now,
in
and I
quotations.
said, I got 2 seats open for anybody who wants to. When I tell you Dominique and say less. Sure.
But here's the thing about that. There are actually 2 seats. Jaren is way smaller than me, and I'm looking at the seat. Jaren had me sitting on a half a seat because she wanted to have better access. I'm like, Jaren, my big behind needs a little bit more real estate than what you're trying to provide for me.
Real estate. Dominique, I'm not doing this with you.
Well, I didn't know if I could curse or not, so I was like, let me reel it in. But you know,
can.
oh,
You
okay.
can.
My ass needs more seat.
My, y'all see why I have to have Dominique back on the show. She's just a ball of energy,
I try to be.
So, Dominique, you got the gardening thing going on. This is your season in all facets, right? Because we claiming it.
We lift our hands.
Last time I had you on the show, it was August, and I know it was hot. today is hot. We're in April. It's damn near 90 degrees, right? And so you are the queen of helping people to cultivate their dream garden. Like that's just who you are. And your garden,
Listen,
I still need to come visit. I've been looking at everything through photos and I'd be like, oh my gosh. Even my mother is over here in the front, like, we need to go visit her.
come over. I'm actually doing my big season build, I believe on the 18th.
Okay.
I done called in the troops like, hey, can you come film?
I know that's right. I want to come. Can I
Come
go?
up. Yeah. We're
Please.
going to
Would
do
love
on the
to go.
18th from like 8 to until
Okay.
I'm tired.
Until you're tired.
Till the hip gives out. That's what
Okay.
it really comes down to.
Okay, I got you. But for those who are aiming to cultivate the garden of their dreams, what should they be doing now? And there's no judgment. If there's something they should have started and they hadn't started, like what would
Listen.
you offer
Okay,
up?
so first of all, I'm not one who's like only start from seed. I've started from seed before, had my whole living room full of plants and
Yeah.
seeds, and then missed the window of transition into plants and everything died. So, I'm not gonna be that girl. But what I will tell you is there's some things I'm gonna be like, don't spend your money on it. Like carrots. Apparently the depot was selling carrots as a seedling. Why are y'all playing with people and playing in their face and playing with their wallets? So something like carrots, you could start from seed, but like something like bell peppers, you can also start from seed. So the things that I feel like, girl, don't waste your money unless you're like, well, actually, I got a plan.
Yeah.
Buy those bell peppers from seed. Don't ever buy carrots from seedling. Don't ever buy carrot seedlings. It's a waste of your money. They're not gonna live. But so I think the first step is. For me, the first step I would say is look at your space and how much of your real estate are you willing to give up to garden. So for me, I really I like to entertain. I used to entertain a lot pre-COVID, so I wasn't willing to give up my whole backyard.
Okay.
I'm really blessed to have this nice size yard, but I'm like the gardens have to go. So my beds are kind of along the walls of my yard. Also. Sometimes I think people get very excited about the things that they want to do, and they're not mindful of, do I want to spend the money on water? That's a really big thing that people don't consider. Yes, I have a rain barrel, but again, you go through droughts, right? And then
Right.
the way my rain barrel set up, it couldn't be attached to the house because of where the stairs are, where the HVAC is. So it's just catching the rain.
Okay.
So again, you have to think about how much water am I trying to spend? So if
As
you
meaning your water bill.
your
Like
water bill, honey, my
That's
water
a
bill
big
in
deal.
June, July, August are insane, but my water bills throughout the rest of the year are fine.
Yeah.
So I try to conserve as much as possible. So again, what kind of space are you trying to take up at your home? And then what are things you want to grow, and are you willing to spend on water? And I think that makes a big difference. And then my question that I start to ask my gardeners is, what do you want to grow? Or what do you enjoy? What do you enjoy eating in the spring and summer months? And I say that because the thing I talk about all the time is cilantro. I
Okay.
enjoy cilantro. I don't have the soap gene. However, the cost of growing cilantro is not worth it for me. It's easier for me to go to Aldi and buy it for 69 cents or wherever I want to go to buy cilantro. But the cost of watering a cilantro plant, it's just, I don't use it enough. So I really encourage people to think about, So
I forgot to mention
I'm an accountant.
She's an accountant by trade. She's an accountant by trade, so she is.
it's always dollars and cents for me. I'm an accountant by trade, so I'm always like, what is the value of something? So something that I really, really enjoy and I can't place the value on are tomatoes. I love tomatoes.
too,
I
girl.
can't eat tomatoes the way I used to because
Okay.
eczema, skin,
Oh,
but
too much acid and all that.
I don't know,
just-
but the food
just something.
I used to call myself the green bean queen. Can't eat green beans like that anymore.
Damn.
So I know. So between the green beans and the tomatoes, I have to really make a decision. So I'm like, all right, green beans, I've kind of like fallen back from, but tomatoes I still love. However, I used to be growing like 6 and 7 varieties of tomatoes. I can't do that anymore. I'm gonna pick 2 strong varieties of tomatoes that I really want to grow, and that's gonna be it. And so I start really looking at my garden as a culinary space. So something I enjoyed growing was celery. I love onions. I love garlic. I love sweet potatoes, hot peppers, bell peppers, carrots. So I'm really thinking of things that I really enjoy eating. And on top of that, another thing I really enjoy were watermelons. So the things that I'm gonna always grow hands down are gonna be watermelons, but they're also going to be tomatoes. And I need gardeners to look at it from that perspective. Like, what are things that you enjoy that I can't do without? I can't have a season without those. And that's how I really look at it. So space, and then the financial obligation. And then the last part is, what can't I not do without? Like, again, for me, it's tomatoes and watermelons. I'm going to always grow my own. I'm going to come get some from somebody else, too.
I know that's right.
Listen, I stay with watermelon all summer long. I mean, I don't want to have it. I don't want to ever not have watermelon in my house. Like, I love me some melon.
No, I do too. Well, damn. Okay, so, gosh, I know good people, y'all. Good and smart people. Smart people. Never even thought about the money factor, which of course you did. Accountant by trade, you crunch numbers all day, you look at spreadsheets, all the things, right? And one thing that's on my mind, so today, very hot day in April, which I was not prepared for.
At all.
Right? And so what I'm doing, and what you all may notice as I have more my conversations on this show, is I actually am baking in climate change conversations just a bit. And so you don't need to respond to that if you want, but I think about rising temperatures are going to continue to happen this summer and into the fall. And so just thinking about the amount of water that will be needed.
So this is a perfect thing for me. So I grew interest in Oyas a while ago. And so the Oyas I called it it's a porous ceramic vessel. So almost like a pot, but they are native. They're made by Native American people, or originally, right? Like I'm thinking of a word and I can't figure it out. But anyway, so they're made by them. And so different companies have kind of like started to produce them. So I found this, well, I did not find the company. We saw each other on Instagram. Okay. And so this company and I low-key were like flirting in the DMs, like, I like your Oyas. And they were like, I like the way you garden. And I was like, you want to go together? And so... So the thing is, this is how I am in real life all the time.
I know.
But so anyway, so we were talking, and so they gifted me with some Oyas. So I've been seeing Oyas in general, but kind of started following them. And so they gifted me with the Oyas. And so you bury them. That's the whole thing. So when you get ready to
bury
start
them into the soil?
I do raised beds. And so I bury them with the raised beds at the top of the season. So that's one of the many things that's going to happen when I do my big build. You want to pull them out because when the ground starts to shift with the cold weather, you'll turn around and crack them. But anyway, so there's this vessel with a lid on top. And so when I water my plants, I also fill the Oyas with the water. And because it's ceramic or porous material, right, like a terracotta pot, it's slowly making sure my plants are watered. And so with climate change, things that the water that you may do early in the morning, it might evaporate much faster. So I'm constantly feeding my plants on a cycle to make sure that they are always just moisturized just enough.
Right.
So I believe in that. I think it's a really helpful thing. The concept is not brand new. Again, it came from ancient Native people who have created these things, and I think they've worked wonders in my garden.
Yeah.
So last summer they gave me a few to test out. This summer they gave me a lot, so they're gonna be everywhere. Like every single area where I have things growing, they're gonna be this summer.
Okay. Wow. Knowledge. That's awesome. I like the little flirtation that happened in the DM.
Listen. I'm not afraid to shoot my shot. If anybody is listening and would like to shoot their shot, I mean, I might be like, no, thank you, but I might be like, hi.
Plots and pans.
Plots and pans.
No, that is incredible. What did your garden do today? What did you have to do today? Again, 90 degrees. Y'all, I'm sorry, I'm just stuck on 90 degrees. I did not know
it's so hot.
Today.
I don't have anything major growing yet. Like I have, child.
Well, no, what did you have to do this morning just for your garden? Like what?
When I said I don't have anything major going yet.
Okay.
No, I mean right now I have my strawberries. I need to. Okay. I have plenty of strawberries. I've been trying to give strawberries away. I have strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, my pear tree. Ideally, I should have watered everything this morning. I did not because I'm not in the full growing space because everything isn't there.
Yeah.
But I thought about it this afternoon. But again, because it's in the afternoon, you don't want to kill your plants by calling yourself watering them midday. So everything will probably get a heavy watering this evening rather.
Okay. Awesome. Now, is it around what time of the year, and maybe it's this time of the year where you probably start to get some calls or DMs or emails saying, "Hey, Dominique, I
Girl,
need to
they've
get
been
this
coming.
made."
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sure,
I have a
like-
build next week. I have another build the week or following. That one's a midweek build.
Okay.
It's smaller, so I could do a midweek build.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, I mean I'm taking calls and clients.
Hello, calls
And clients.
One
but
and
yeah.
the same. You calling me? You
One
a
of-
client?
But no, so I've been getting people who are interested. I think that there's a lot of people who get the bug of like, I don't want to grow things until Mother's Day. Okay, girl. Doesn't really make me no, never mind.
Yeah.
But I'm really a big person on the last frost. But interestingly enough,
you are.
this year, yeah, I talk about it all
Yeah.
the time. But like this year's last frost, we still had a cold snap 2 weeks later. And I typically wait 2 weeks till after the last frost. So I was like, oh, good thing I didn't do nothing. But I was really behind just because I was behind because my full-time job was like, hey, girl, to your job.
Now, what are your in terms of your projects and your bills? What are some not? I don't want to label them as your limitations, but
No.
like how big? Like, and I'm sure people have come to you with some very lofty.
Honey.
I want to turn my entire yard.
Well, it's cool. It really
I love it.
the reality is it's your budget.
Hella per.
It's your budget. Because a lot of new gardeners are really taken aback. And sometimes I get anxious, if I'm being really honest, about saying the cost of a new build garden because the cost of the soil is so expensive. And the cost of the soil delivery. Because at this point, child, my car is 14 years old and I drive a car, not a truck. So I was trying to haul all this myself and I had to be like, neighbor, tap out. So we have to order the soil, we have to have it delivered, and depending on how big of a project you want, that's a lot of soil. So somebody's like, I spent $700 on dirt, and I was like, actually, it's on soil and nutrients and things like that. And so people get a little bit frustrated. But I mean, I've had one of the upcoming builds is massive. They live in Montgomery County, and then the other build that I did that's probably the biggest one to date was in Prince George's County, and they had the space. And so really that's the big thing. It's what you can imagine and what your budget allows for. Because obviously there's the cost of like me, but I am not actually, my presence is not the most expensive cost. It's actually the materials.
I mean, your presence should.
I mean,
it's your hands, your labor.
Well, I think labor
costs. What you're saying, though.
Yeah, but labor costs have also changed as well because and I don't know if you fully know the extent of my hip injury. I know we talked a while back about it. Yeah, but I had a hip injury that I rehabbed for over a year, and I'm still a little bit cautious about. So, one lady, I try to tell people, hey, because of the time that I'm going to have to hire more staff and, my recovery and the massage and all that stuff that goes with it, sis, I'm being honest with you, you can do it yourself. And the lady was like, you right, I can. I was like, I'll sell you the plan.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
You can.
Yeah.
Yes. Because as I'm thinking too, and I know I ain't saying nothing you ain't thought about, Dominique, but we're two business people. I'm like, you could literally, probably already done this. I'm just thinking just to have like a budgeted template of like all the things that you need for your garden.
Oh,
and
I
be
do.
Like, bam. Of course you do. Of course.
So
you do.
I mean, so I guess kind of explaining the business practice to you. So when people reach out, I give them a couple options. So you can either do a consultation, which is just a consultation. We could do a virtual consultation or in person, and I provide them with the cost. Then this is how much it is, because maybe you're like, oh, girl, that's a lot for you to come to my house. Well, we can meet virtually.
Yeah.
And whatever method you want to meet, Zoom, FaceTime,
You name it.
You name it. You name it. I'm there. So we go through all of those things, and then once we do the consultation, you get two options there. So do you want to do, I can do a build for you, and that's when I have a team come in. We talk about all the things you want to do, so on and so forth. All you do is water. I give you the plan in terms of like where everything is placed. I give you the harvest guide. I give you a pest guide. I give you all that stuff, but all you do is pay me and water.
That's it. Yep.
Or you say, girl, that's a lot. Okay, well, your other option will be here. I can do a plan for you. I give you a custom plan. I tell you where to buy the things from. I give you access to my Amazon storefront.
Yes.
So you can purchase all your garden needs there. So I give you all of those things and you can do it yourself. Both of those options do come with access to me for the season. Now, not personal, like coming to your house, but I'll we could text, we could talk throughout the season. Now, after that, don't really call me too much. No, but seriously. And then, I've had some really great, oh, no, you know what? I had another real big garden and they were so cool. This lady is so dope. Like, honestly, probably one of my...
a cool client.
I do. But I also have been really picky about my clients.
And you can be, yeah.
I didn't know that. I had someone a couple years ago and we had a consultation and she was in a different state, but we did this consultation, a virtual consultation. She wanted to do a plan. I told her, okay, I need the map in terms of like the measurements from her. Mm-hmm. And it took her like 8 months. And then she reached back out and she was like, yeah, so here are the measurements. And I was like, no. And even when I talked to her, she was a little, I just wasn't, I hate to be like, I didn't like the vibes, but it just felt a little off. And so when she came back, I was like, hey, it's been 8 months. We would need to do another consultation. Mm-hmm. I can discount that for you, but this is the timeline that we need to follow. And she just got a little smart. And I just finally said, I don't think, it would be best for us to move forward. But I think at the beginning of it, I was so pressed, like, to be like, it was a paper chase and also just trying to put myself out there. And then I realized, it's not really a paper chase. And it's okay obviously money is a part of it, but that's not the overall goal. And it's okay to say no to people. But that was hard to get there. I think it took me feeling like I didn't care for this, or I can only think of two people that I told no to. One was pretty big and I felt anxious about it. Because I felt like the presence of that person would have really taken my brand up a notch. Mm-hmm. I know that it would have, if I'm being really honest, but it wasn't a good fit. It wasn't a good time.
Good for you.
And
good for you.
Somebody told me, oh, my friend did her garden. I was like, well, that's great.
Great for them. Yeah.
But I also ain't seen her post the garden, so. And she posts everything.
You had the Midas touch.
I'm gonna be honest. My big thing is I can guarantee success, and if I can't guarantee you success, I'm gonna have to tell you no, right? But I know that I have something special, and I would be downplaying. I would be almost being fake humble if I didn't say otherwise. I know I have the magic touch on certain things, and so with that, I have to be honest with myself and sometimes say no.
Absolutely. Sticking to your truth, your core.
It's hard though, especially when you got a 14-year-old car, child. And has to buy a roof, but
But also, your work is a business which was birthed out of your passion for cooking and spending time on the farm and etc. But you are genuinely helping people, like you are helping to essentially build a grocery store in folks' backyard.
Listen.
And you are contributing to an ecosystem of pollinators and the environment. Like it goes so much deeper than just an exchange of money and services. Like this is for the greater good.
And my dreams are so big, and I am so excited about like what I know I am literally on the cusp of something. I could tell you offline, but I'm on the cusp of something.
Be safe with me until you put it out there.
I'm on the cusp, and I just know like this is going to be like big and life changing. And like genuinely, and I've said it, and like you can see like old clips of me where I said, you know, I just really want to share this with the world.
We've had those conversations.
Oh,
in my home,
we are literally
like,
getting closer and closer and
I love
closer.
it.
Like when I say closer and closer, we are almost there.
This has never been a competition for you. I've never felt that.
It's
ever.
not.
We've talked about it, and you said you've always wanted to come to. How can we help one another out? This has never been a competition for you.
Well, you know, I'm not a competitive person. Well,
I'm not
board
either.
games I am. I will kick your ass, okay?
I'm not coming over to play Monopoly.
Listen, don't play Taboo with any
play
of
Uno,
us.
though. It's going
Don't play
down.
Taboo. Don't play Uno. I will kick your ass, and you're gonna be real mad. But in terms of like life stuff, I'm just not competitive.
I'm not
That's
either.
not who I am. I'm like, oh, okay, you got it. And it's funny because I have felt competition from other people in this space, and I'm like, I mean, I think you're ready to but
Absolutely.
But so that part sometimes can be a little
bothersome. I've been there.
It can be very bothersome because I think that I acknowledge, like, I get it. Like, I've had some opportunities that others of us have really wanted. And yes, I have. Some of it is knowing the right people. And some of it is, because what I'm not going to do is be like, I'm just so talented. No, like.
You know how many untalented, well,
listen.
You can define talent however you want, but there are some folks who just, you see them, it's like, how did they get there? By who they know.
By who you know, but also by like just really kind of luck and blessings, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I mean, that TikTok, I did a TikTok for when I got the TikTok partnership, which is so funny. My friend Danielle directed it because I was like, I'm Dominique. And she's like, no, do this, do this, do this. This one TikTok has like literally over 500, I don't know, something ridiculous. It's like probably 100,000 plus views for one TikTok.
For one.
That was not my brainchild of how to do it, right? I was the talent, but somebody directed me. And so anyway, I say that to say is that I have felt competition from others, but I'm like, I don't really try to give that energy because I understand. I understand my privilege. I understand my blessings. I understand, you know, some of it is just space and time.
That's so true.
And people also, I try to eliminate this in my full-time work, but people like to work with who they know can do something. And so unfortunately, that doesn't always give everybody an opportunity to shine.
Right.
At work, I'm always pushing for, you know, let's let so-and-so do this. And they're like, we ain't never heard them. Let's get this one. I'm like, oh, it's so frustrating. But anyway, what else you want to know?
All the things. Well, speaking of how fabulous you are, I know that you have had a couple appearances on the Weather Channel, but also the Today Show, which every time I see that on your Instagram, I'm like, you go, girl.
You're going to see it again soon.
Yay.
Well, it depends on when this is published, but...
Right. They'll see it regardless at some point.
Yeah, so I've been on the Weather Channel, I think 20 times. 20 times equals 10 separate days, though, because we do 2 shows each time.
Okay.
I recently, the last time I was on the Weather Channel, I did like a little BTS, which is funny because I'm on the internet in rollers.
I love a good BTS.
You do love a good BTS. But I was on the internet in rollers, but I was like kind of showing people like what my day looks like when I film. When I do the Weather Channel, I film from home, and I have to have a separate internet connection, child. But because my Wi-Fi isn't strong enough, so I have a second Wi-Fi literally just for Weather Channel.
Wow.
But I wake up really early. I do my own hair and makeup. Sometimes my friends will set my hair for me. So let me go ahead and give you a shout out, JC. But yeah, so my hair, I took down my rollers, I do my makeup, and even though I'm not a big makeup person, and you can't even see it well, it makes a difference of seeing nothing. So you still have to do makeup. Have to have my little coffee before I get on, but it's always just a fun time. So this last time, one of my girlfriends, Tiffany, lives down the street, and she came over and she filmed me, and our friend James came as well. So this time was the first time I ever had 3 people there. So Tiffany's like, James, you film, and I'm going to take BTS. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. So it
You had
was
a little team
we had
behind
a
ya.
team, and I made breakfast, and it was really nice to like be able to get that type of footage for people to see, because when I'm talking to them, I can't see them. So it's just me listening to them on my AirPod, and okay, they're asking me questions. So it's a really cool opportunity. And a lot of times I kind of I don't want to say produce myself, because that's not fair, but I will come up with the topics and then
Okay.
kind of give them things
Creative
to ask.
producer.
Yeah. So that's that. And then the Today Show, my God.
Just such a grand opportunity. And I mean, you're just a true testament to, you don't have hundreds of thousands of
I
followers
do not
yet. We'll
yet
say that.
have 4,600, I think, something like that.
And there's this notion, which is a fair assumption. You're looking at the interwebs and you think in order for you to get this opportunity, you need X amount of followers, and that's just not your case. You are committed to what you do. You do it well.
Thank you.
In time and space, and who you might know, and people speaking your name in places where you're not there.
So that has been carried me through life. But
Snap,
so
snap to that.
with the Today Show, yes, so my name being carried in rooms that I was not a part of, and so I am an NBC watcher, just hands down. Like, I don't have cable anymore, so my TV's always on NBC4 in DC. And so I just leave it on all day long. I grew up watching NBC, and we used to watch another channel at home too, but NBC was always the go-to. So I've watched Today's Show since Willard Scott, like since Jane Pauley, and Bryant Gumbel. Like, I have always watched the Today Show with my family. Like, that's our show, right? And so when this opportunity came about, I actually got the call Valentine's Day, or the email, Valentine's Day 2022. And I'm like, this is gonna be the best Valentine's Day ever. But imagine having to keep that secret. I had to keep the secret for like 3 months, because I didn't go on until May.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it was like the biggest girl, I've kept some good secrets though, let me tell you. But Valentine's Day 2022, that was my first time. In that year, I was on 3 times, which is kind of unheard of, because I was an unknown, essentially. And then even still, when I got off the stage, I actually just watched it over the other day, because I don't really watch myself like that. I mean, I do, but I don't. But anyway, I remember when I walked off, Al Roker was like, that was excellent. And so my producer, Katie, says her emails were literally going crazy, like Dominique, because again, I was an unknown, and I was able to go, and I had a 5-minute, I think it was 4 minutes and 50 seconds segment. So that's major for someone who has never had that scale of television. So, I mean, I just felt like I was on a high. It was amazing. Like, what a great feeling. And I think you said something about me having not a lot of followers. Well, again, I still work full time. And not to take away from anyone, a lot of us do. But for me, I still have to prioritize my work, and I want to be very mindful of that. Also, sometimes I just don't feel like posting, or I don't have enough content built up. So we've changed the plan. I have a team. Listen, because I couldn't do it without them, because I don't think like that. I'm a numbers person. So like my level, or things that I think are daily for me, somebody else is like, girl, this is a reel. This is 10 reels. And I'm like, oh, so I have people who help me with that stuff. And I'm really, really fortunate. But I think the big thing is I don't particularly care to watch people's content all day, every day. Yeah. And there are some people who literally, they post multiple times a day. That does not entertain me. Yeah. So I enjoy having fewer posts and having true engagement on the fewer posts.
Absolutely.
So,
And it doesn't mean to say, I don't know, the algorithm is all of sorts. And also, well, I want to call it some other names, but I won't do that. But that's not to say that because you post X amount of times, it's going to get you X amount of followers. It's not even really about that. It's just a true testament to your reach. And just me debunking a myth that you can do great, and I'm talking general public, like great things, and it doesn't necessarily have to equate to you having X amount of, like, it just doesn't. Like, you stay true to your core, you're good at what you do. People obviously recognize that, they see you, they hear you, and they speak your name. And so just it's a huge testament.
Well, thank
It
you.
inspires me, little
Yay,
old
thank
me
you.
over here.
Listen, you inspire me to like make sure I'm being kind. I am being. I mean, I think we could all be kind, but I mean, we could also be catty too. And I think it's just
Yeah.
helpful to make sure like you're not being kind and you're mindful of every single person can help you out in a way that you may not have ever considered. And just like I'm a girl's girl to begin with, but I think you help that in this space for all of us to continue to be girls and to be like super supportive and not getting your feelings like
Yeah.
you know or not
Yeah.
getting your feelings too much because I'm have big
Human.
feelings.
Yeah.
Child, me and my therapist be talking about my big feelings like I didn't like that.
Listen, we're humans. We're humans. So before we wrap up, I have a couple more questions. I want to get into your kitchen.
Let's go.
Literally, physically, in the pan. I want to
I'm
be all up
through.
in the pan. What have you been simmering up in them pans, Dominique?
So the funny thing about that is I have actually been in a rut. I was talking to a girlfriend about it on the way here.
Okay.
I've been in a rut. I've had no desire to cook. I've had no,
Really?
yeah. I go through that probably like maybe once a year or every other year. It's not often, but I've been in a rut. So the first thing I made, when was that? Maybe Friday. I made some bronzino and it was very nice. I love bronzino, right? It was really nice. And I was like, okay, this is good. And mind you, wasn't no vegetables inside. It was just fish and some ice cream. And it was so ridiculous. I was like, well, because I think what happened was I was like, I'm gonna make this fish because I'd taken it out and I'm like, girl, I'm the queen of a freezer too. I am Gwen's child when it comes to this. Everything is labeled, packed. So yeah, me and my
grandmother.
Sharpies, listen, my sister's like, girl, just buy fresh food. And I'm like, "Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. One day I might want something,
Right.
a hot dog. What? So anyway,
Dominique, you are a damn fool.
I listen. You'd be like, well, do you need puff pastry?
But you know what? I'm laughing so hard because I'm thinking about my grandmother. Southern households. I don't know if in my grandmother's Southern household, there's the refrigerator and freezer in the house, and then there's a deep freezer outside.
Oh, I
in the
didn't
little
mention that.
shed. Yeah.
You didn't understand that I have a deep freezer.
Oh, okay, so there we are, aligning.
And at my mama's house, my mama had, well, at the old house, at our family home, she had the chest deep freezer and the pull door deep freezer. So yes, Gabrielle thinks I'm insane. She's like, girl, you don't need, Gab is my sister. You don't need a deep freezer. But I'm like, yes, I do. I do.
One day you might want a
You never-
hamburger. You
hello-
might want a hot dog. It might be some catfish stuck or whatever type. It might be something. I swear that is my grandmother too.
Yeah,
Grandma, what is in here?
So basically,
For a rainy day.
I'm an 80-year-old woman. So yes, I pulled out the bronzino. I cooked that and it was beautiful. And so I was like, okay, I might be back. But remember, I just said bronzino and ice cream.
Yeah.
Not pregnant, y'all. Just ridiculous. So then fast forward to yesterday, I made this Vietnamese dish. So it was yesterday was just a beautiful day. I was jamming in the kitchen, listening to Stevie Wonder. I was listening to Az, and it made me think of my friend Monique. And I was like, this is a vibe. Monique is a vibe.
Yes.
And so she's like, are you at Jazz Fest? I'm like, no, I'm not at Jazz Fest, but I am making Vietnamese food. She's like, what? I'm like, I mean, it's like New Orleans. So we have a very big Vietnamese population in New Orleans. So, I mean, it's like black and Vietnamese, basically, and a few white people. But no, seriously. But so I made this lemongrass chicken. I made some nuc mak. Oh, I think I said it wrong. Nuc mam. But it's like the Vietnamese, like kind of like one of their popular dipping sauces, like a fish sauce. I made some white rice, child, but I can make some good rice. And what else did I make? I made bok choy.
Bok choy.
I love bok choy.
Me too.
And then I had some sliced cucumbers to go with so the sauce is kind of like a pickled, almost, it's not pickled, but it's kind of briny, vinegary. Yeah.
Okay.
But it was perfect. So the chicken, the rice, the bok choy, the cucumbers, it was beautiful. And I was like, yo, I think I'm back. So, I haven't part of my, like, I guess, like, most of us, like, when you go out to eat and you have these different experiences, and when you travel, it makes your ideas for food so much more different. Also, I think I've just been a little bit busy with full-time work and starting to get into the season for
Yeah.
plots. So my brain has been clogged, but I that meal was so beautiful. I just finished it today. So I don't know what else is on the, in the queue. You have some ideas for me? Because I'll make them.
Well, I don't eat chicken, beef, or pork. I love a good seafood dish with some vegetables, and shrimp. I love shrimp.
I love shrimp too, but it has to be
do.
well.
Not just
Again,
any. Yeah,
well,
I think
I will eat most shrimp, but if you give me some Gulf shrimp,
I want Gulf shrimp.
listen, listen. I made some buttery, garlicky Gulf shrimp a couple weeks ago. But I went somewhere and heated it up, and I was like, I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm that person. But they were like, no, it smells beautiful. Do you have more? I was like, no. I made food for me.
Listen, whatever you want to cook up, I trust you. I love branzino though. I love a good
I
branzino.
mean, yeah.
What are some of your favorite herbs to like throw in dishes?
Oh, definitely thyme. Thyme is probably, well, I love parsley. The people love parsley because it's like, what do they call it? Like edible confetti.
I never heard that edible confetti.
But yes, parsley. I love parsley though. Parsley will take anything up, and I like a lot of parsley, so it's almost like I'm eating another vegetable. Girl, give me the parsley. Don't you make that parsley too fine. I want to taste that I am eating parsley. But parsley, I love thyme with my whole heart. You know what another herb that I like is, not on an everyday basis, but Niraj from Cultivate the City?
Of course, I know Naraj.
Do you know the story of the Indian mint that he grows or he sells?
No, I
So
do
the
not.
Indian mint story is actually, it came from his grandmother's garden, and he constantly propagates it. And so
That man is a genius.
listen,
For real.
listen. First of all,
He's
a
a
genius
genius.
and like one of like the nicest people in the world.
So sweet, so compassionate. He's like a freaking scientist. Like he's a
Like, yeah.
botanist, scientist.
Listen, Niraj
dope.
is the best. I used to go when they were in Northeast. I would be there like every other week, picking up stuff from my clients. It would be like, I'm here with a client order, but I'm gonna get 8 of those for me. So anyway, but yeah, so he was propagating the Indian mint from his grandmother's house. And so every time you buy the Indian mint from him, you're getting mint from the mother Indian mint that came from his family. Anyway, if you know me well, you know that I actually hate mint. And the Indian mint tastes like oregano.
Did not know that you hated
Oh, girl, plain toothpaste. Like,
mint. Really?
the golden, what is that thing called? The golden Listerine. That's how much I hate mint.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, no, I don't do mint at all. Don't offer me mint tea. I actually
Noted.
don't
Noted.
drink mint around me. Don't chew mint gum. Like, please don't, unless you want me to die on the spot. Please
don't want
do
you to
it.
do that.
But yeah. But the Indian mint tastes like oregano. So
So you can do that mint.
because it's not minty.
It's not minty.
Like there's certain basils that one year my basil was too minty, and I was like, oh no, I don't want it. Come get it, people. So yeah, thyme, rosemary, which are all very steaky. But thyme and rosemary, that Indian mint is beautiful. I love me some parsley.
Okay.
Now I'm starting to get into all the things that I love to grow. I'm like Baltimore fish peppers,
Come on, Baltimore fish peppers.
Paul Robeson tomatoes, garden peach tomatoes,
Ooh.
peas.
I want to have a party in the garden.
Let's do it.
I want to. As we wrap up this show, as you know, Dominique, I have been saluting and honoring Black women in agriculture, in food activism, and you have been a part of that, not necessarily cohort, if you will, but I always celebrate.
I'll be a part of a cohort. Is it cool girls? Only if it's cool girls.
So, in the spirit of Homegrown, which I have been affectionately calling these series and as my ode to celebrating you all in this space, want you to define, in your words, there's no right or wrong answer of what homegrown means to you in the context of your work.
Um, so I think when I think of homegrown, I think of my literal home, which is New Orleans. But when I think of homegrown, which in this context, I often think about something like a fruit or a vegetable that makes me feel so close to home. And that vegetable I would definitely say would be okra. I enjoy okra. I don't like fried okra, which is what most people love, but I like, sauteed okra with like um okra and tomatoes, which my grandmother made a lot of. And I think I shared with you previously, like there was a time that my sister, our friend Lottie, and our friend Christina and we all traveled to Brazil. And so we went to the Korea. I'm probably butchering the word, but it was one of their local steakhouses, kind of like Fogo. And so we were there and they had like the regular meat that they bring around to you, but they also had the section where they had like their local foods. And so when I was there, one of the local foods was okra and tomatoes. And I was like, what? I gotta get this, I gotta try it. And I tasted it and I was like, dang, this tastes just like, obviously not exactly like my grandmother's, but it's okra, it's tomato, it's onion, it's seasoning. It kind of is what it is, right? And so I was like, man, this is like, it tastes like home. And then I have another girlfriend, Tamika, who her family's from Sierra Leone. And so one day on Instagram, she's like showing herself cooking and ate okra and tomatoes. And I love Indian food. And, one of the things that I get when I go to my little spot, Indigo, I get their bindi, which is just their okra. They don't saute it with tomatoes, but it's just okra and onions, really. And so I think that okra, one, it allows me a closeness to home because it is so native to Louisiana. But I think like in like the grand scheme, the Howard girl mentality, when we start talking about the diaspora, but when you talk about the diaspora, I feel like okra is truly one of those foods where I can see it in Louisiana. I can see it in South America. I can see it in Sierra Leone, and I can see it in India. And I think it's just such a special food. And I think for me, that is homegrown. That makes me feel like I'm home. When I have okra, I just feel just this kinship to wherever I am. So yeah, that is the food I would say in my space that makes me feel at home.
That's so beautiful. I share the same sentiments. Okra is one of my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually my new shirts have red okra. This is red okra.
I see it, girl. It's so cute. It's the pink and red combo, which is definitely one of my favorite color blocking combinations.
And I wasn't even thinking when I was thinking about the design, it wasn't even like, oh, okra is like my favorite thing. It was what could really represent like the
Mm-hmm.
eye and edible. And I was like, okra. And then he made it a red okra. And I was like, awesome. That's beautiful. I really do like that. And you said something that struck a chord, kinship. I think that is certainly spot on. And it's homey. It definitely makes me feel it makes me think a lot about Mississippi all the time. It's really and another thing you said, I like okra because we know there are a lot of people who actually do not like
Yeah,
okra. But
they
I am okra
don't.
gang, okay?
It's so funny because I never had fried okra until I went to college. And like I
Really?
remember people being like, "Oh, it's fried okra." And we just didn't eat it like that. I mean, honestly, the biggest fried food I had coming up would be like fried fish, aka fried catfish.
Mhm.
That's a whole nother story of I didn't know people fried other fish other than catfish till I got to Howard and got
Mm.
real upset at homecoming. Like, what is whiting? What is this? Um, but seriously, so like we'd have fried catfish, fried shrimp. People ate fried oysters. I'm not a big oyster person. Um, what did I eat? Hush puppies, French
Mhm,
fries,
mhm.
obviously. But like fried okra, like, and when we say fried corn, it's really sauteed corn. I
Yeah.
mean, but like, so when I remember going to school and being in the cafe and they had fried okra, and I was like, what is this? It's like, mm-mm. So I've had it a few times, but I could totally do without fried okra.
And I say this too, like all the time, like some people think that all of the South is made the same, and the cuisines are, though similar, they're different. Like, I did not eat fried chicken growing up. People
We
think that's
didn't
like a
either.
Southern delicacy. My family did not fry chicken. I know they know how to fry chicken, but for us, it was fried okra. Like, that was the thing. Fried okra, pickled okra, but I can eat it several different ways.
I mean, yeah, I'm over here doing my little happy dance for the pickle okra.
You're
Girl,
hilarious.
don't give me a pickle vegetable station
Period.
with a Bloody Marys. Oh my God. But no, we didn't eat a lot of chicken in general, only because my grandparents were cattle farmers. So we had I think we talked about this, having multiple deep freezers and all these cuts of beef. I remember, I can only really remember one chicken dish my mom make it, and that was this Caribbean stewed chicken that my dad liked. Well, I mean, I guess she made it for us, but we'd have that with like pigeon peas and rice, that type of thing. But we didn't eat a lot of chicken. I still don't eat a ton of chicken. I eat more than I did coming up, but girl, we were a beef or seafood family. We would
Not mad
have
at it.
deer sometime. Obviously there would be lamb. But I feel like deer was probably the most popular. Deer and lamb were the most popular things outside of straight up beef or any type of seafood.
Wow, lamb. Okay. Okay.
Listen,
Cool.
I live for lamb. Lamb, duck. Give me all the gamey things that you don't want. Oh, I will eat them. Happily.
Dominique for the gamey things. So as we conclude, and I know you speak to you've been supportive in pretty much all the things that I've done, and I really appreciate you, Dominique. And as I continue and will always do celebrate Black women globally, all over, because we lead every single social justice movement. We are at the forefront, do a lot. We just do a lot. But specifically in this space, in this green space, this agricultural space, the food activism space, are there any Black women who you choose to highlight and just say their names as you look up to them, as you continue to do your work, or just those who inspire you to continue on this journey?
Yeah. So I think the first Black woman who I'm always going to give the big shout out to would be my grandmother, Thelma Yvette Watson Muse. I think oftentimes when I talk about the farm and talk about going to the country, I probably talk about my grandfather more, only because I apparently was his favorite grandchild. But no. So I think I talk about him more, but my grandmother, hands down, like, was equally there by his side with him. And then we'll also add my mama. Like, my mama is not necessarily a farmer, but guess what? She is a gardener. My mom at our house grows pomegranates, sugar cane. She has an avocado tree. She has tons of things, and she has
Oh
tomatoes
my.
too. But I started with pomegranate because that's where Gwen is. But she's a big gardener. She has sweet potatoes in her community garden bed. So she grows a lot of stuff. And then I think on the front of like people who I would call my peers, I would say there are two people who speak. I have a list of 5 names. So I started with my grandmother, then I moved on to my mama. I'm actually gonna jump from next to my peers, and my peers I would say would be a lady named Tamara Elmore, who most of us know as Tam in the Garden. And I just think she's lovely. She's so wonderful. She was very helpful for me in some like, I guess, like early on when I was trying to figure out pricing and whatnot. And I just thought she was so, like, she was very transparent with me about things. And I think she also, we talked about sizing and things, right? Because Tamara's plus size as well. So she was kind of helping me, like, oh, well, this works and this fits like this. And I think, when you don't look like everybody else, sometimes it can be difficult. And, some of these conversations aren't conversations I feel comfortable having with everyone. But listen, she broke down so much for me, gave me her I can't remember what you would call it, but like basically her spec sheet, how much she charged when she had this amount of followers, that amount. I mean, it was just crazy. So she was just so lovely and is so lovely to me.
Mhm.
And then I think another peer who I just genuinely look up to is Gail. Gail's name, her last name escapes me. What's Gail's last name?
Oh, Taylor, 3-part. There are two Gales, but I think you're referencing Gail Taylor, 3-part.
I'm talking about Gail Taylor. Gail Taylor and oh my gosh, we're very different because she's a little quieter than me, but she's so nice and so dope. And she really, if anything, I think Gail is like very, very humble with all the hard work that she has done. And I just think she's literally a wonderful woman who has helped me in my process. She grew my plants for my plant sale last year, and that was a real cool experience. So truly, I think everything I did was with Black vendors, and that was really exciting. And then I guess my aspirational person I see in this space would be, I got a list of 6 now. would be Edna Lewis, because she has these beautiful cookbooks, but really talks about truly the pots in the pan. And I think that's where I would like to go. And I think that final person on my list is B. Smith. Oh God, why do I feel so emotional? Oh God. B's light was dimmed by her Alzheimer's. And I know she could have been bigger than what she was. And my desire is to take that torch and run further and further and pass that to the next person. So I didn't anticipate this.
That's okay.
But people often will say, "Oh, you're like the next Black Martha Stewart," and I always correct them and say, "No, I'm the next B. Smith." And so I think my journey, really, my people on my list, like I said, were my family, my mom and my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, and then my peers, Tamara and Gail, and then Edna Lewis and B. Smith. And I hope I can make every one of those people proud.
Oh, you are. And you are so special. And I'm so glad that we have met. And you inspire me.
Oh gosh. You inspire all of us. I always am like, you are the leader of the pack. You are the Girl Scout troop leader.
Dominique, you are hilarious.
I'm just saying, you get everybody together and it's just always such a good connection and good energy. I think one way that we are so similar is being able to curate a guest list to make sure people can really vibe off of each other.
That's important. That's very important. Oh my goodness. So Dominique is crying all of us out of this show, okay? I got a little twinkle on the corner of this eye. But this is beautiful. 3rd time having Dominique on my show. Always a pleasure. And I appreciate all your good work. And
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Yes, of course. And always look forward to being in space with you.
Yay.
So, Dominique, for those who aren't following you on social media and all the media channels, where can they find you so they can tap in and watch you on social media, make sure they tap into today's show, the Weather Channel, get all those fabulous updates?
So my favorite social media is probably Instagram, and you can find me at Plots and Pans. So PLOTSANDPANS. And on Facebook, it's the same. TikTok, it's also the same. And then my website is myplotsandpans.com. So I'm pretty easily accessible, but Instagram is probably the easiest way to catch me. It's like literally my favorite social media.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, peace. Bye. Thanks for tuning in. You can catch today's episode on iTunes, Spotify, and Simplecast. And be sure to follow us at Food Talks in Color. That's just the letter N on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.